A young woman returns home against her grandfather's wishes, sparking hauntings by the Kromoleo, ghostly pallbearers who are tied to her father's death. At the beginning of the film, it is revealed that in 1980, many robbers in Mazanang city are mysteriously murdered. However, who was behind these killings and how they happened remained a mystery. The city had two remaining groups of robbers. One of them was led by Sogali, a ruthless gang. The strange thing was that they seemed impossible to kill. It was famous among people that they might have some magical powers or they do black magic. Due to this, it is possible to kill them ordinarily with a bullet or a knife. Well, after all this, we see a man named Danang in the first scene of the movie. It is 1984 and Danang is buried the dead bodies of the robbers of Sogalis. Means those robbers are killed. There was "You have black powers," and he found this from Diderot's book, which Danang had. No, Diderot was laughing, and seeing him, Danang picked up a sharp cutter to kill him. Before dying, Diderot curses this village that whenever there will be my blood on this ground, there will be death and destruction. After it wasn't shown what happened to Diderot. Now we see a girl, Gia, after years. She is returning to her village, Mazanang, with her friends in the same city where Diderot and those robbers were. We discover from their conversation that Gia's mom died and they are going there for her funeral. Her special purpose to come here to discover was to discover about the past of her dad, who was none other than Diderot. As Gia enters Mazanang, some strange things are seen here. The weather changes suddenly and the whole village is covered with clouds. This happens because of Diderot's curse. Gia, who was his blood, when she stepped on this ground, the curse starts again and the chain of death and destruction will start here. As Danang sees Gia, he becomes furious, and here we find out that Danang is none other than Gia's grandpa, who killed Diderot. The people in the funeral are also looking at Gia strangely. After the funeral, her grandpa Danang asked her to leave this place as soon as possible. Otherwise, he will be responsible for the death of the whole village. The scene cuts and we are shown Danang's companion telling the villagers that Gia's arrival is not less than any danger. Try to save yourself. Close all the doors of your houses at night and don't open the door if someone knocks. You will be responsible for your death if something appears in front of your eyes. Gia was sitting with her friend and suddenly a ball comes down from the upper floor. Seeing the ball, she goes upstairs. It was a storeroom and there was a box that was locked. It attacks Gia, but before Gia can open it or see anything, Danang comes and says to her, being furious, "Pack your bag and I will drop you at town before the night appears." Jia's friend also feels weird that her grandpa is asking her to leave from here. He says maybe the reason behind this is your father. Jia doesn't believe him and she thinks the story is something else. And this is what Jia wanted to know. Jia says, my grandpa never allowed me to come here. He used to say the people here will die if you come. She asked, what does my arrival have to do with their deaths? During this, Danang comes and takes them from there. He was going to drop them, but he finds her car punctured. Seeing this, he becomes furious. He panics, moves inside the house and picks up a gun. He asks Jia to stay inside and then leave with her friend. Jia asks him, what do you want? What are you saving me from? Danang doesn't respond and leaves with her friend. Danang moves ahead while leaving Jia's friend on the way. He was smoking but then sees a black shadow in the air. He ignores this, but then he sees 4 black shadows holding a coffin. The boy gets scared to see this terrible scene. 2 girls also see those coffin spirits. An old lady in the neighborhood also sees them. Seeing them, she asked her daughter to hide in a room because she knew that whoever sees those souls will be killed and she wants to save her daughter. We find out that this girl was also Jia's friend. These souls kills that old lady with their powers. After it, the girls who saw those souls were also killed. Before the souls would kill Jia's friend, Jia comes here at the right time. He tells her that he saw souls here, but Jia doesn't believe it. She says Grandpa must have told you this. Meanwhile, she sees her friend's face swell. She was holding his neck as if he was escaping from a snare he was in the air. It seems like someone is trying to strangle his neck. Danang comes here and sees in the mirror. There were the souls behind him, who he couldn't see with his eyes, but saw them through a mirror. Seeing in the mirror, Danang attacks the souls with gun. There are salt in the bullets instead of gunpowder because the souls used to run away from salt. Because of this salt, they leave Jia's friend and they run ahead. Jia couldn't understand what is happening. She asked her grandpa, what is going on? Danang doesn't reply her, keeps walking ahead. Danang was able to see the souls with the help of the mirror he had. Meanwhile, the souls again surround Jia's friend. They could have killed him, but he was again saved. They are moving ahead, but suddenly Danang disappears and they are left behind. They knew that the souls will come and kill them. Jia hurriedly hides at her friend's house with him. Mom was killed right after when she saw them. They don't see anyone inside except for her dead mom. Seeing her, they get scared. Jia's friend tries to call her to her while knocking on the cabin. Jia didn't hear her and they come out. This time, Jia's friend sees a car coming from a distance and he happily moves towards it. Then it discovered that it wasn't a car, but the souls who are holding a coffin. They become cruel this time and kill Jia's friend. Jia becomes sad to see this. Danang is shown that he comes to the man who was asking the villagers to stay alert. He asks him for an amulet and some salt bullets through which they can escape from those souls. That man asks, what are you going to do? Danang says, Dijaro's daughter has returned, and you know this curse, that his blood will come with destruction. Danang says, Dijaro's daughter has returned, and you know this curse, that his blood will come with destruction. Even his blood can end this curse forever. Now I will end him forever through his blood, his daughter, and will save this village from this curse. The scene cuts, and we are shown that a man named Yanto has kidnapped Jia. He used to work with Danang to kill the robbers. He sees the same amulet in Jia's neck that can save her from evil souls. He knew that Danang must have given her. Jia asks, "What is this for?" He tells her that it is to escape from the curse given by your father to this village. Jia understands that this man knows everything about her grandpa and her dad. She asks, "What happened to my dad?" Yanto tells her that Danang killed her father by separating his neck. But even after dividing his soul body parts, Dizarot is still alive to this day because he is immortal. He has black powers, and everyone knows that none can kill Dizarot. Even then, Danang cut his neck, but before this, your dad cursed this village, that whenever his blood will stay here or will come here, there will be death and destruction on this ground. Now, because you are Dizarot's blood, and since the day you came here, all the souls of Sugali robbers are wandering here, being alive. The one who sees those souls, the souls kill them. Hearing this, Jia's heart breaks, and she remembers the day she came when black clouds appeared. The scene cuts, and the man from whom Danang took the salt bullets and the amulet is shown. His wife becomes furious and asks what was the need to give him that amulet. We only had one. Now, how can we escape from them? She was saying this when suddenly their door knocked. She opens the door. There was the souls outside whom that man's wife sees. That man doesn't see them, but the souls come inside and try to kill his wife. This man risks his life to save his wife, but nothing happens because he is also killed along with his wife. The scene cuts, and we are shown Yanto and Jia again. Jia asks, "Is my dad alive till today?" Jia asks, "Is my dad alive till today?" On it, Yanto says, "Yes, he is alive. No one can kill him, and it is impossible ordinarily. Many people wanted to kill him, even Danang, and he even buried his body parts separately after killing him. But even then, his shadow is in this village till today." Here, he tells her another bitter truth, that none can kill her father except for her. Only you can kill your father and can free this village from this curse. "This is only because of your father's curse." Jia asks, "How can I do this?" The man says, "You have to find your dad's body and his head. And after joining them, Dizarot's soul will return in it. As his soul will return, then you have to pour your blood on a weapon and an axe. Then with it you can kill your father Dizarot, and after this his curse will end." He says, "You are also a part of Danang's planning, as he has brought you here to kill your father. Jia thinks that she has come here, but this is not so. It was Danang's plan. Jia still feels that her grandpa is fighting for the villagers, but this man earns her complacency and tells her that earlier he let Sugali robbers rob, and the villagers were robbed, after which, when he killed Sugalis, this curse came. He then made 3 amulets with disordered teeth. With those amulets, you, he, and one of his friends can escape the curse. The rest of the villagers remain trapped by it. If he wanted to, he could free them all. Hearing this, Jia says to Yanto, "Okay, then I leave. Now only I can save those villagers." But Yanto says, "No, you will not save the villagers. We are all evil and we deserve to die." Saying this, he points the gun at Jia so that she will die and this curse will never end. Before Jia could die from his gunshot, Jia hits the chair, but he misses the target. Hearing the gunshot voice, Danang also comes here to save Jia. He starts fighting with Yanto and then leaves from there with Jia. Jia says, "I don't believe you. I hate you because this curse is because of you." Hearing this, Danang holds her hand and places a huge cut on it. Then he places that blood on an axe, gives that axe to Jia and says, "Now with this, you can kill your dad." Jia refuses to do this because she loves him. She even finds out that her father isn't evil. She was about to meet her dad after 10 years. That's why she didn't want to kill her father. Hearing this, Danang says, "Okay, if not you, I will kill him." After all this, Danang takes Jia to his house because he buried Desirer's body at his house. Reaching home, Danang makes Jia realize that she is the reason because the happenings here. Jia becomes furious to hear, and she thinks that she also shouldn't escape from this curse now. That's why she removes the amulet made by her dad's teeth. As she does this, the spirits come in front of her. She sees them before the spirits can kill her. Danang comes and saves her. Taking her inside the house, Danang starts digging backyard of the house where he buried Desirer's body parts. When Danang was about to join Desirer's head and body, Yantu comes from behind to stop him from doing this, but a fight begins between them. Here we see that Jia comes out and her Desirer's soul comes to kill her. Jia recognizes him and says, "Okay, Dad, you can kill me," but before he could, as his body joins with his head, his soul returns to his body. Desire revives, and when he opens his eyes, they are shining like a cat, which is a sign of having black powers. Being revived, Desire sees Yanto and kills him. Even Yanto was apologizing to him, and Danang also apologizes to him. Here he confesses that, "Yes, I have done bad to you. You are a robber and don't know black magic, because only your blood was needed to kill him, which I got, and now I will kill him. I ask you to learn all this, and when your power increased, I made you kill." Desirut asks why, and he is about to kill him, but Danang says, I was asked by someone else to do so. Dijarot still doesn't pity Danang, even after hearing all of this. He was about to kill him, but Jia came at the right time. She hugs her dad and stops him, saying, Dad, don't kill them. They are innocent, but now Dijarot will not stop all this even at his daughter's request. He says to his daughter, My soul will not get peace until I kill all the villagers. When Jia feels that her father is intoxicated by power, she sees no other way to stop him. She pours her blood on an axe, attacks her father from behind and kills him. Here Dijarot dies and Jia stands up and takes Danang from there because she understands that Danang isn't evil. He did this on someone else's document. Before they could leave, Jia's friend arrives whose mother just died. She heard that this curse returned because of Jia. Her mother was killed because of Jia. She shoots Jia in anger. Seeing this, Danang becomes furious and kills that girl too. After Danang and that girl, Jia was counting her last breaths. Then she thinks of something and picks up the axe with which she killed her dad and stabs herself. After which Jia would die, but we see Jia walking on the road in the film's post-credit scene. Her wounds are healing and she was getting better instead of dying. This means that her father's powers are transferred from her through his blood. As a result, Jia was revived and began to recover. At the same time, the villagers' curse was also lifted. The story ends here while showing this. After the movie concludes, a scene shows a stranger arriving and taking Dijarot's body. It seems like